Hello, and welcome to this week's section on physical and social environment. We're going to go into the impact that the places you go and the people you spend the most time with affect your ability to make healthy choices and live a life of optimal health. You're going to get plenty of different practices and journal prompts to deeply explore this topic. So sit back and relax and enjoy. Have you ever walked into a room and just felt at ease? How about the opposite? Have you arrived someplace and immediately wanted to leave? Feng Shui is the art of organizing an environment to increase energy and give a space an overall good vibe. We often don't know why we like or dislike a space, but we certainly can feel it. Our environment plays a huge role on our mood, behavior, and our ability to live a life of optimal health. You may be feeling anchored to your best self, and as soon as you walk to work or into the mall or a bar or your favorite restaurant, your entire energy and attitude could shift. This power of our environment over our behavior is illustrated by a study with lab rats by Bruce Alexander. He showed that rats that were kept in cages and given access to morphine water by clicking a lever became hardcore junkies. However, rats who were in an environment that scientists called rat heaven, full of tunnels, play areas, burrows, and spaces, avoided the drug-laced water even when it was in sugar solution. The moral? Happy rats preferred to be clean. Although this study is done on rats, you can see how this may happen to humans. Replace the cage with a cubicle, a tense home environment, or even the feeling of being trapped in a chronically painful body. And humans, too, turn to self-medication through junk food, alcohol, tobacco, and a host of other painkillers. In your journal this week, we're going to explore the environments where you feel unsafe, triggered, and trapped. We're going to write about how these different environments make you feel and how they impact your healthy choices. This week, we're also going to coach around avoiding, transforming, or shielding yourself in environments that drain, and we're going to create more spaces that fill you up and inspire your best self. And even more than the space that you're in, the people you're with can impact your health behavior and your sense of life satisfaction. When we surround ourselves with a community of supporters, making positive changes for ourselves becomes easier. It seems we're hardwired for connection, and we start forming attachment bonds from almost the moment we're born. Our DNA is programmed to desire relationships with others for our very survival, and according to self-determination theory, human relatedness is one of the top 3 human motivators. Simply put, we have a deep longing to fit in and to belong. In a study by James Fowler and Nicholas Christakis that looked at happiness of nearly 5,000 individuals over a period of 20 years, they found that when an individual becomes happy, the network effect can be measured up to 3 degrees. One person's happiness triggers a chain reaction that benefits not only their friends, but their friends' friends and their friends' friends' friends. The effect lasts up to a year. Unfortunately, the study also shows that people in social networks of up to 3 degrees of separation can also influence your odds of becoming obese. That's right, your friends' obesity increases your likelihood of becoming obese by 10%. At 2 degrees of separation, or your friends' increases your odds by 25%, and at 1 degree of separation, your close friends' weight gain increases your odds of gaining weight by 45%. According to Christakis, what appears to be happening is that the person becoming obese most likely causes a change in the group's social norm about what counts as an appropriate body size. People come to think that it's okay to be bigger since others around them are bigger. This sensibility spreads easily. Another influence is social modeling, which is the tendency to mimic the actions of the others around us. Although things like peer pressure can play a role, Much of the influence is based on the collective belief system of the group. Consciously or unconsciously, people look to others when they're deciding how much to eat, how much to exercise, and how much weight is too much. Okay, so what am I supposed to do? Drop all my unhealthy friends? Or drop all my healthy friends to protect them from my bad choices? No, you don't need to drop them unless there's, of course, a pattern of addiction. Part of recovery process used in the AA program is saying goodbye to the people and places that trigger your addiction. But there are much less extreme solutions that we'll focus on. You've got lots of journaling prompts that are going to help you with this week. One exercise will be to identify your supporters and unsupporters. Now, I recognize that this may seem like you're judging the people in your life as good or bad by their health choices. Don't think of it as much as a judgment on them as it is an observation on how they impact your energy and your behaviors. Everyone has people in their lives who drain them. You know who I'm talking about. As soon as you're done talking to them, you're ready for a nap. There are also those people who tempt us. When you're in school, your mom called these people the bad apples or the wrong crowd. When you spend time with them, you're more likely to eat too much, spend too much, and engage in habits you're trying to kick, or just do things you don't mean to do. Then, there are also those people in our lives who are the saints. They help us to live our best selves. They boost us up when we're down, and they inspire when we're around them to feel alive. Hopefully there are more of these people than the others. And if not, it's time to change. So what do you do with these bad apples or not so supportive people? Well, you can either beat them or you can get them to join you. When it comes to your unsupport group, you need to learn to set boundaries so they don't sway you from your goals. Or you can get them on board with your program. Rather than letting them be the bad influence on you, you be the good influence on them. Or as Gandhi put it, be the change that you want to see in the world. First, we'll talk about setting boundaries. Saying no is often difficult for people. There's this belief that if we say no or set boundaries that we're being mean, hurting feelings, or admitting defeat. None of these, of course, are true. So learning to say no to tempters is the only real way we can rise above our social norm. Next, you can try going on a drama fast. Drama and gossip are two drains that you don't want anything to do with, trust me. Don't participate and don't get stuck in it. When you catch yourself in it, silently say to yourself, drama, just like labeling the saboteur, and then duck out of the conversation. Another way to set boundaries is by asking for what you want. Let go of the need for approval and ask for what you want. If your family wants pizza but you want fish house, ask them if it would be okay if you changed it up. Finally, being unmovable. Fully commit to your path, your mission, your values, and be unwilling to sacrifice for anyone. You can anchor yourself before spending time with difficult people by imagining that you're an oak tree or using a phrase that reminds you of your solid commitment to your best self. Hopefully, you have more people you want to inspire than boundaries you have to set. It's much more fun to model health to people in your life than it is to shield yourself from them. So mindful leadership can look many ways. First, it's leading by example. And it's not preaching about how you're not living right and should be healthier. That just makes people feel bad. To lead by example means that you pack healthy lunches. You leave work on time to get to your exercise class. You refrain from gossip and you give compliments. Be the pace setter. According to research, when dining together, eating behaviors are dictated by a table's pace setter, who unknowingly sets the standard for how much is eaten and how fast. Be that person. Share your wins and successes, but without boasting. Invite your friends to your fitness classes or over for a healthy dinner. Finally, encourage them that if you can do it, they can do it. In the beginning, especially, practice being detached from others' responses. Even if nobody seems to notice or care, keep on keeping on. They'll come around in their own time, just like you did. Now, we've covered how to remain stable even around unsupportive or neutral social environments, but there's also value in evolving the relationships that are already working. Remember, it's high quality friendship that leads to life satisfaction and well being. The two main ingredients to deepening relationships are vulnerable and empathic communication. Vulnerability, according to Brené Brown, expert on the subject of human connection, explains that there's a paradox of healthy boundaries and vulnerability. In order to express ourselves authentically and to experience intimacy in our lives, we have to learn to trust. We have to find the courage to be vulnerable and open to people in our lives if we want real connection. The next is empathic listening. Although we might think of someone who's a good communicator as having articulate speech and a broad vocabulary, good communication actually starts with active listening. Mindful conversation is a practice of staying present and listening curiously in a non-judgmental way. It's being aware of body language, facial expressions, and the other person's energy. Connecting in a way where you can really understand another person's feelings, needs, and desires is the foundation of empathy, which, according to Marshall Rosenberg, founder of Nonviolent Communication, is the key to deepening your relationships. And then we have accountability, which is not always fun, but it works. An accountability partner is someone who will call you out when you're off track, someone to remind you of your goals when you've forgotten, and someone to simply check in on a regular basis to see how you're doing. There are many ways to be held accountable. Some like a consistent and loud message to keep going. Others would rather be asked insightful questions to help them come up with their own answers rather than being reminded of what to do. The key is to figure out how you like to be held accountable, look at the network of candidates for the job, and then ask for what you want. Share your goals and vision and how you want to be held accountable. And of course, offer to hold them accountable for something they want to change in exchange. That's how partnerships work. And just for the record, accountability is typically not mothering, badgering, pestering, a guilt trip, telling your partner what to do, or a competition. All right, so that wraps it up. You've got plenty of work to do this week to create a physical environment and a social support network that's going to be conducive to you living a life of optimal health. So like always, be diligent about your journal prompts and your practices for this week. See you soon.